Consciousness with Christopher Witecki. Thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How many people know me already? Oh, a lot. Wow, I'm honored. Wow. Hi. My name is Christopher Witecki, as Melissa said. First of all, thank you all for coming today. We really appreciate it. And thank you. We are obviously just starting up and working out our little bugs. We found that in Mercury Cafe, Mercury's about to go retrograde and we didn't have wireless. And so we were like, okay, scramble, time to change things a little bit. You know, I'll first say, like, for me, I have been a person who has been obsessed with character and consciousness probably my whole life. When I first went to college, I thought I was going to be a director of film because I just loved character and I loved people and why people do certain things. And I took a lot of psychology in college and I was like, this is crap. It doesn't tell me anything about character. I can't use it in film. And I actually ended up getting an astrology reading from my girlfriend at the time. And I had never been exposed to astrology before. But she sat me down, and the first thing she said is, well, looking at your chart, I just want to let you know we're going to have to break up. I'm not kidding. And I was like, what? She's like, it's not good. You're not going to want to have kids for like 5 years. You're all about college. You know, I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy accurate. So I started studying it, and then I started using it to create film characters and whatnot. But 20 years now into this, whether you believe in astrology or not, it doesn't really matter because the ancient Mesopotamians really came up with an amazing model for how human consciousness actually works. And it doesn't matter if you believe the planets are triggering your consciousness or not. I think you're going to agree that the model is amazing. And what I've come to realize doing astrology readings for the last 20 years is that we get no education on how to deal with our inner self. None. Never, right? If we cry, we're told to be quiet. If we feel weak, we're told to get stronger. No one tells us how. No one tells us what these different voices inside of us are. And God forbid if we share what our voices are, because then they'll call us crazy, right? I don't know about you, but my mind is absolutely insane. You know, like, I am talking to myself all the time. You know, the only difference between me and a rambling homeless person is that I don't say it out loud. You know what I mean? Like, I just keep it in here. So I started to study consciousness, and I started to realize, oh my goddess, astrology really, you know, shows how consciousness is built. That there actually are not 12 astrology signs. There's actually 12 states of consciousness inside of you. 12 independent states. Each state is self-aware of itself. So we're familiar with some of these states. We have our mental state, which we talk about a lot, right? See a therapist for your mental state. We have our emotional state. People are familiar with that. People are familiar with their subconscious state. So we're already kind of somewhat familiar with these states, but nothing teaches us how to manage these states of awareness, or which state of awareness should get the final word, or which state of awareness is most important, and how do you trust one state of awareness over the other? Are your thoughts right, or are your emotions right? Right? It's like, who knows? And I think this is part of the problem. So Melissa and I got together because, have you noticed the world's going to shit? Have you noticed? Yeah. And I don't think this is, you know, I'm not blowing smoke. I mean, things seem to be getting worse and worse in the world. People are unable to deal with each other. People are unable to deal with themselves. And most importantly, everyone is so distracted by the media and the politics and the games and the corporations and the marketing. It's just like, and the iPhones, you know, like everything is distracting us from what we came here to be, which is ourself. We came here to be ourself. We came here to enjoy life, right? How many people are having a great time right now in life? Oh, that's great. Almost all of you. See, now this is why you belong here. Okay? Like, and have you noticed, are you a loner? I mean, are the people around you having a great time?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah. Yes.
Not the people I know. You're lucky. I want to go to your house. I want to go to your house.
My house is always open.
Our house is open too, sister.
Lovefest at my house.
Woohoo! So, Melissa and I were like, you know what? People, I think the reason why the society is fractioned into all these pieces is because people on the inside are fractioned into all these pieces. We have allowed ourselves to become disconnected from our source, from ourself, and, you know, all of us are suffering from a Judeo-Christian hangover of 2,000 years. And we have been, you know, basically scared away from spiritual community, scared away from people who want to control us. And we're not meeting anywhere, and we're not loving each other anywhere, and we're not connecting to each other or ourselves anywhere. Like we have, this has fallen out of our social paradigm. So Melissa and I are like, we gotta do something to help people unite themselves on the inside. And that's what the oneness is, in our opinion, is like, it's time to first become one with yourself again. Like, that, first and foremost, like that's triage. And this is why we started this. And love is obviously the highest vibration on earth, so why not have a Lovefest, right? Happy Lovefest Day, I love you. I love you, I love each of you. Each and every one. So it's kind of funny. Human consciousness is complicated. Again, we have no tools. We have a couple of random therapists like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, and they've all looked at it from different perspectives, but I've never been happy with any of those models. And I want to present a model to you today that I think you can take to the bank, okay? And I call this the 6 steps to inner peace. It's actually 7 because there's one hidden step. We're going to talk about that. But this comes down to how consciousness works. And consciousness is pretty funny, which kind of leads me to a little joke here I want to share with you. So a priest and a rabbi are at a holy site in Jerusalem, and they are praying together. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the rabbi throws his hands in the air and says, "Oh God Almighty, I am nothing. I am nobody. You are the Almighty. I am nobody." And a couple moments later, the priest has some sort of spirit take him over and says, "Oh God Almighty, I am nobody. I am not worthy. I am nothing. I am nobody. You are the ultimate." And then a couple minutes later, just around on the side there, a person was street sweeping, and he throws down his broom, and he says, "Oh God Almighty, I am nobody. I am not worth of anything. I am just one with the universe." And the priest looks over to the rabbi and says, "Oh, look who thinks he's nobody." Right? And what that is an illustration of how our states of awareness actually work. We have a state of awareness that is our spirit. We have a state of awareness that is our ego, and that's our mind. And I think both of the priest and the rabbi, they were in their state of awareness of spirit, and then as soon as they were in it, their ego and their mind took over and suddenly judged someone as nobody as being less than, which is just funny as heck in my opinion. So I'm going to walk you through some clear steps, which is basically just an awakening of an awareness. This actually is part of a full conscious program that I have developed, I guess, uncovered, found, discovered, I don't know. God channeled it to me, you spirit channeled it to me. And I call it the 11 steps to serious joy. But because we are short on time, we don't want to burn and fry people out, I'm going to give you the first 6 steps to inner peace. And the theory on this is, I learned with my study that consciousness builds onto consciousness. So in other words, one awareness leads to the next awareness, which leads to the next awareness. And this is actually how I think astrology works. It's not that the planets are controlling us. It's that human beings are running in cycles of consciousness over and over and over and over and over again. Just like morning leads to noon, leads to dark, leads to sleep. And just the same type of thing. And we cycle through our consciousness in a particular order over and over and over again. And our consciousness does this without even thinking. Now, you might be wondering what the order is. It's so simple, you're going to laugh. The order is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Believe it or not. That's the order. And it's as simple as numbers. What I've realized in my research is human beings have a psychological association with numbers. If an alien landed right now and did this to us, we would think they're either saying peace out or 2, right? Like, or 3. I would bet even ants and bees probably count. They probably have a counting method. Every part of consciousness seems to actually be united by numbers and math, as it turns out. It's just built in us, right? We just understand it. Once we get it, we get it. And that's what I learned with consciousness is it's kind of based on numbers, it's kind of based on math. And for that reason, I'm really grateful because it's super easy to remember. So, I'm going to start with the first state of awareness. Can anyone guess what that state would be? 0. My fans. That's right. It's the invisible secret step, step 0. Step 0, and this may be like, well, what the heck is this about? Step 0 is the mind holding space for anything to happen. Okay? And if you read the Bible, first it was dark and then it was light. That's step 0. Dark, light. 0 is our consciousness of creating boundaries. So I want to do a little experiment here. If everyone's willing to play along with me, close your eyes and raise your right hand. Now, as your right hand is raised, I'd like you to try to feel your hand without moving it. Can you feel your arm's energy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, everyone can lower their hand. Now, what I was just demonstrating to you, although extremely simple, is your state of awareness, being aware of your arm without thinking about your arm. I bet you your mind was the first thing that came in, right? Like, what the hell's he doing? This is stupid. Right? Like, what, or whatever. Depends on the smartass. Depends on the mind and what's programmed. But after a second, you realized, oh, I can feel my arm here. And not only can you feel your arm, but your arm is separate from your leg, okay? That's conscious awareness. We tend to think conscious awareness is what we think, but it's not what we think. It's actually the part of us that's watching what we think. It's the part of us that's observing. So to inner peace, step 0, I protect. This is probably one of the most important steps. How many people here feel safe in life? Okay, some not. Well, safety comes from protection, actually. Protection comes from taking the time and space to make sure that you are sheltered. And most of us are kind of trained to just go out in the world without shelter, to run out without our coat, to run out without something to eat. We don't take time and space for our peace, or we don't take time and space to make our peace. How many people have peacetime scheduled in your life? Okay, I'm so proud of these people. Wow, a lot. I remember when I was a kid, my mom would be like, get out, I just need some peace. And all 3 of my brothers, because we used to fight and do stuff, like, and I was like, huh, Mom is taking time for peace. Like, I remember thinking about that. The thing about consciousness is, step 0 is time and space. And part of the reason why people are feeling fractured on the inside is because they're not thinking about the time and space in their life. They're just showing up and winging it all the time. They're not thinking about the fact that I'm going to deal with someone today who's a lot of work, and that means I'm going to need a little time and space to deal with this person, right? Or I'm feeling super emotional, but my boss wants me to come in the office, but the truth is I need a little time and space to settle my emotions before I go talk to my boss, all right? So security comes out to, it's not that you actually are secure, right? It's theoretically, a person could run through the door and starts throwing piñatas, but the sense of security and the sense of safety comes from the fact that you consciously thought about whether or not you're safe. You actually technically are. If you want to be scientific about it, someone could just break through the door. But feeling safe in yourself comes from the fact that you thought to yourself, the door is locked, I'm okay, I have a coat, everything's fine. And that is the completion of your sacred circle. In fact, this is what keeps people from feeling sacred or not, as life feeling sacred or not. Being sacred means exclusive, right? There's an exclusivity. Exclusivity meaning I'm standing in a sacred circle. I put this circle around me. This is a conscious circle that defines me. And when I have this circle, and this goes back, this is why wedding rings are circles. Consciousness is a circle. But when we envision the step zero, when we envision the circle around us, or we envision some sort of a backup plan, then we feel safe. So a lot of the lack of safety on the planet is that people are getting caught up in the drama, caught up in the story, and they haven't actually checked to say, am I safe right now? Is everything okay? Is a safe going to fall on my head? Am I okay? And this is us being unaware of our safety. Just being unaware. If you're aware, you will feel safe. If you are aware, you will feel that your life is sacred, that it is precious. What makes it precious? I mean, what makes a church precious? It's precious because there's these big doors, you got to walk through them, and there's a red carpet, and it's all these different things that are barriers of entry. And by being inside, you feel safe. All right. The next step is my favorite step in the whole wide world. It's step 1. I love. Now, here's a word you just don't hear about anymore ever since John Lennon was murdered, right? We just don't hear the word love anywhere. And I think that's a conscious effort by someone somewhere. But love is a state of awareness that people, first of all, may not realize is a separate state of awareness. And what it means is there's an entire part of your energy inside of you that is dedicated to just love, to monitoring love. And this love has to be fed, just like your mind has to be fed with knowledge or your body has to be fed with food. We have to feed love to our consciousness because it's actually love that we're using whenever we're creative, whenever we sing, whenever we play, whenever we have fun. We're using our love consciousness. So we have been brainwashed to always give love, but for some reason it's not so good to receive it. Like, you got to earn it. You got to earn that love. And that's what we call conditional love. We've all been conditioned that we can only love under certain conditions. She's got to be 5'2" and weigh less than 100 pounds, and then I'll love her, right? Like, all these kind of weird conditions. And these conditions are conscious conditions that are completely monitored and controlled by you, not society. You chose to accept and receive these conditions of love. Most importantly, though, self-love. How many people would say that they practice self-love? Okay. What have you done for yourself lately?
Me?
Yeah.
I work out, I do my morning prayers, I try to be aware, I listen to you every day. Since 2012, Papi, bam, from Puerto Rico here, so I'm excited because you're here.
Thank you. How about you, ma'am? What do you do to love yourself?
Oh my gosh, well.
Oh, sorry, I went. We'll do her first and then you.
Okay.
How about you, ma'am?
I wear it.
Oh my God, she's got love stockings. Wow, okay.
I wear it, I create art, I take time
Art takes time.
for that.
And then in the back, sorry.
Well, I'm just beginning to
Love yourself
myself
again?
up. So definitely listening to you every day is what keeps me on track.
Yeah,
Bar none.
for my subscribers and viewers, I'm just pounding this in their head all the time. Like, love yourself. I think that, you know, the point I was trying to bring up there is that love is actually an action. It's not a thought, right? And it comes from the heart, something loving, right? And I think that we have this Judeo-Christian hangover where we have to earn love and we're sinners and all this sort of thing. And I'm not against religion at all, but I have noticed it's had a huge impact on people. And for whatever reason, they don't feel like they have the right to love themselves. And I think that this is the core issue of people feeling fractured and fractured inside, is that they are not loving themselves. They are waiting for the world to say it's okay, or they're waiting for the world to give it to them in the first place, like a handout. When the truth is, the only way we're going to raise the love vibration on the earth is by loving ourselves. I don't know if anyone believes in Jesus, but I highly doubt Jesus waited for the apostles to love him before he turned water into wine. Okay, I don't think that's the way it worked. I think he probably had to go backstage and be like, I love myself, I'm a shit. And then he had the power. That's what I think it was, something like that. I think the power of love, if you are a spiritual person, I think that the closest thing to God incarnate or Creator incarnate or higher conscious incarnate is actually the love vibration. So, in my opinion, if you want peace in your life, you need to consume love for yourself at least 3 times a day. At least 3 times a day. At least. Now, for me, it's in the smallest little things. I have my 4-color pen that I have to have whenever I do readings. This is all inner child stuff. I need my coffee. Even if I don't drink it, I need it. You know, doesn't matter. It's something important to me. I need all my pretty pictures around. And that's how I recommend people start loving themselves, in the smallest ways. In the smallest ways. The smallest ways of loving yourself will lead to profound love. Now, a lot of my clients, most of my clients are women, because women are more evolved. Sorry, man, it's true. You know it's true. There's like 3 of us here. And you probably came here because your woman made you, right? Okay. I rest my case. But I always say a lot of women are looking for love. I would say when I do readings, 80% of the question is, when's love going to come? And my answer is always the same. I don't know. How long are you going to make yourself before you love yourself? How long are you going to make yourself wait? And this is all the paradigm of, I'm not worth it, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you, in my research, and I do think it's research, I'll publish one day what I've witnessed, what you attract is how you treat yourself in relationships. It's how you treat yourself. We've been lied to and said, treat others the way you want to be treated. That is some dark wizard that gave us BS. That's not how metaphysics works. It works by how you treat yourself is how people will treat you. And you know, all of us who are light workers here and light walkers, I know you're like me, or at least how I used to be, where it's just like, oh, it's okay, honey, whatever. And then I say to myself like, you stupid fucking idiot, why didn't you? Right? Oh my God, I can't believe how stupid I was. I love you! Right? And then, dude, like Jekyll and Hyde, I'm an ass to myself. Right? And it's like, well, why does anyone treat me nice? Because I don't treat me nice. Because I'm not loving myself. That's why. So, step 1 is I love. And I want to help you leave here with like a concrete plan to feel at peace until our next festival. I mean, that's what our goal is. Our goal is to help people feel grounded and loved on their own, and you will become a magnet in your sphere of influence. And people will go, what the hell got into you? Right? And you say, I just started loving myself. So I would say 3 meals a day. And I would set it on your timer, on your phone, on your iPhone. One of the little tricks I used to do, I put a picture of myself as a 5-year-old on my phone. And every time I checked that phone, which is basically insane how much, I was like, oh, you know, reconnected to my heart. So I think the biggest disconnect that's going on in society is people are disconnected from their heart. That is the biggest one. And you don't need money. You'd be surprised. When I was a kid, we had a lot of fun with boxes and pails and shit from around the house. Right? Like, I didn't need money. I could turn anything into a toy. So there's really no, this idea that we have to reach a benchmark or whatever. You're not being creative. You're not using your heart's energy. Now here's what will happen, and I'll move on to the next step. Once you start giving yourself the 4-color pen and the flowers and the little things that make you feel better, the next day you'll want more. And then the next day you'll want more. So how many people know why they were born? Nobody? Okay, why were you born to live? That's amazing.
Fill that slot.
To what?
Fill that slot. Be that aperture. Be that
point of view.
Be that space, be that perspective, be that point of view. Now, I would say that he knows what he's here to do because he's in touch with his heart. I believe that a lot of people are like, I don't know why I was born, I don't know what my purpose is. Your inner child is the only part that knows what your purpose is. It's your heart. And don't start with the hard stuff. If you don't know your inner child wants a 4-color pen, you are not going to know what he or she wants to be when they grow up. Okay, it has to start with kindergarten and move the way up. So if you're lost on your purpose, if you're lost why you're supposed to be here, you are not talking to your inner child. You must be patient. If you have not spoken to your inner child your whole life, you basically abandon your child probably around age 4 or 5. Which means when you connect to your inner child, he or she will still be 4 or 5 undeveloped. Which is why you freak out and have a tantrum on your wife or husband, you know, because emotionally you're still 5 years old, not getting what your Legos, right? Then as you begin to love yourself and give your 5-year-old will be a 6-year-old within like 2 weeks, and then a 7-year-old within like a month. It will grow really fast. And before you know it, your heart's going to want a Porsche or something, okay? Like, if you're a boy, you know, maybe some girls, I don't want to be sexist. So loving yourself 3 times a day. This will keep you on your path. I could stop right here and we would be done, honestly. But human beings are more complicated, so we're going to move forward. But if you just did these 2 things, your whole life will change. Now, one thing I want to point out about the states of awareness, each one depends on the other. You can't open up your heart if you don't feel safe. That's how it works. Each one builds on the other. So if you're having a hard time connecting to your heart, Sensei says, you don't feel safe. Child doesn't want to come out to play when it's a bad day and it's raining and there's crap going on. We've all seen colicky babies. They don't play when they have shitty diaper. Right? Like, they don't feel safe when they don't feel protected and loved. The heart is automatically designed to shut down if it's not safe. It's something biological like your heart pumping. Just won't happen. Okay, so if you're having a hard time connecting to your heart, check to see if you're protected. Check to see if you're safe. Which may mean that you can't open up your heart in front of your boss and your colleagues. Maybe they're all grumpy bears. You know, like, so you have to go off somewhere else and just have your little thing and then go back. But even that moment will make you feel very, very special. Step 2. I feel. This is a magical state of awareness. In fact, if you want to know, as far as I'm concerned, this is the Father, this is the Son, and this is the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is the Spirit, the feeling of the Spirit within you. The Son is what is created by the Father. The Father is everything possible forever and ever and ever and ever. Right? This is, right here, our 3-dimensional reality. Right here. Protection, love, and feelings. That's it. That's all you need to know if you want to be a master human, honestly. And honestly, I'd say probably until the 1800s, that's all we knew. Like, or whatever. So we haven't really come far. Emotions are very special. How many people are in touch with your feelings all the time? Okay, some. How many people are in touch with your feelings only when shit hits the fan? Okay. Right. This is one of the states of awareness where we're being told to shut down. Okay? Where logic and reason and science, it's like, oh, you're being emotional like a girl. Be quiet, don't cry, hold it in. Right? Tough it out. You should tough it out. You should squash those emotions so they later turn into cancer. That's what you should do. I actually think that is the leading cause of cancer. I say that because in every client that I have read who has suffered from prostate or breast cancer, step 2 was shut down in their chart. They were shut down emotionally. And that was their karma, that they didn't let their feelings play out. Okay? Emotions are a special state of awareness because it's just like the moon. The moon rules our emotions. It goes around the earth every 28 days, every 28 days, every 28 days. Emotions are like a sponge that pick up information on every state of your human awareness. Every 28 days, your emotions pick up on everything. So emotions are actually a super state of awareness that include all of the information from all of your human states. Your body speaks through emotion with pain and pleasure. Your ego speaks through your emotion with jealousy and anger. Okay? Your intuition speaks through your emotion of like, I got a feeling she's cheating on him, right? Or he's cheating on her, whichever. So emotions actually, in my opinion, as far as, anyone see the movie Star Wars? Okay. Only 2? This is not my soul family. I'm in the wrong place. I believe when Yoda says use the Force, he's talking about feelings. I believe when Yoda closes his eyes and feels that the Jedis are coming, he's feeling through it. So emotion is probably the most important next to love. And what's important about it is that we give it time and space. That we take time and space for our heart, time and space for our emotions. A lot of the times when people are crazy or seem crazy, where they're just in their mind like, blah, 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 right? What they're unaware of is all these feelings going on underneath them that they're not paying attention to. They're trying to use their mind to fix how they feel. How many people try to use their mind to fix how they feel? Right? And you know how that smart-ass mind works. It's like, if I just get this done and this done and this done, I'll feel better. And then you get it done, and the smartness is like, now do these 3. And so it's this never-ending, you never reach the goal. And the reason is, you were looking to feel better. You weren't looking to think better. But we ignore emotion, because that's bad. I don't want to seem weak. I don't want to seem, for guys, girly. I don't want to seem whatever programming you've had. So we just put it to the side, and we don't realize that there's a ticking time bomb going on here, where it's building up and building up and building up, and then finally someone cuts you off in traffic, and you want to kill them, right? All this emotion comes up. And you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know what got into me last night, right? Or people will go have a drink, and then all comes firing out, right? Or, God forbid, violence. We see so much violence. You know what this violence is coming from? The police officer hurting for weeks and weeks and weeks and pretending like he has to be tough. That's why he accidentally shoots the person. Okay? Because he wasn't dealing with his feelings. Or this kid that just shot up in Florida. No one was talking to that kid about how he felt. How you feel, buddy? Why are you so pissed? What can we do about it? Now, the weird thing about emotion is there's nothing to think about. A lot of people with emotion, it's basically like a baby crying in a crib. The baby's crying, and most people are on the internet searching for how to deal with crying babies. Right? They're reading a book. How do I deal with a crying baby? Pick the fucking baby up. Jesus Christ! My God! What is the problem? Baby, it's okay. Oh, this isn't fucking mad science. It's okay. Like you baby talk, you soothe, you do work like Melissa gave you today. Because the one thing about the body is it stores all of our consciousness like a battery. All right. And so what Melissa gave you today was some movement and some pounding to let out some of those charges that are stuck in you. And I started working with Melissa about 6 months ago, and I got to tell you, when I first started doing it, I was like, this is so stupid, it's not even going to help me, I don't even know why I'm here. This is just so lame. I have so many things I have to do right now. Like, seriously. And then it was almost like, I feel like I just had a marathon of sex in the Bahamas. I feel so relaxed. And I realized, even though I meditate, even though I pray, all this stuff, my body was storing a ton of tension, even though I thought it was okay. Okay, so if you want to feel better, you have to wring out your body and do some work, because the baby doesn't calm. If the body's charged with a ton of negative energy, it has to be cleared before you can bring yourself to an emotional state of peace. That's just the way it works. Okay, so I feel, basically what I say to my clients is, you got to give yourself 3 meals of love a day. You got to check on your feelings. at least 10 times a day. Seriously. How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel? Another thing I always say is, always ask how you feel about something. So it's like, do I think I should go to the store? Well, yes, I need detergent and this and that. There's a 2-for-1. Okay, that's your mind. Do I feel like going to the store? No. Are you going to make yourself go when you don't feel like it? Are you going to override? Right? Because when you override what your feelings tell you, remember your feelings are all states of awareness. Maybe you don't feel like going because your body's tired. Maybe you don't feel like going because your intuition knows there's going to be something bad that happens. Maybe you don't feel like going for other states of awareness. So we not only have to check on our feelings, we have to honor them, our feelings. Now, how many people get into fights with spouses or loved ones going, you don't appreciate how I feel, you don't pay attention to how I feel, right? And it's because you did not pay attention to how you felt till it reached a nuclear level, right? And your emotions got explosive. And of course, they're not paying attention to your emotions because you've a law of attracted another person who doesn't listen to their emotions either. They don't nurture themselves, you don't nurture yourself. Both of you expect each other to make each other feel good when neither of you are trying to feel good on your own. That's 9 out of 10 times the issue that happens. Okay. So emotions need lots of stroking. In my opinion, if you want to become a master of consciousness on earth, all you have to do are these 3 steps. This is all it takes for mastery. Protect, love, and make sure you feel good. But human beings are a little more complicated than that. Step 3, I believe. Okay? Interesting, belief. We can go into a whole thing about beliefs, and Melissa, you have to kind of keep me up on time. We can go into a whole thing about beliefs, but at the end of the day, how many people believe in themselves 100%? Okay, 1 person. All right, good for you, sir. Good for you. Believing in yourself. Why do people not believe in themselves? They don't believe in themselves because they're basing their belief on their outer world, not their inner world. So it's like, well, I didn't really do well on a test, outer world. My parents think I'm a piece of outer world. I'm not really making that much money, outer world. I've had a hard time dealing outer world. Really, you're going to base your beliefs on what happens in the outer world when it's the inner world that wants to believe, right? According to this method, belief is based on what you protect, love, and feel. That's how belief, each state of awareness is built on the last state. So if you feel bad, you're going to believe bad things. If you feel good, you're going to believe good things. It's that simple. How many times have we met a person who's like, I'm going to be president? And you're like, yeah, good luck, right? But how does that child know they're going to be president? How does that child know they're going to be an Olympic? How does a child really know that they believe it? Where's that coming from? There's no empirical evidence for that. Where it's coming from is the child feels it, and the child loves the idea, and the child is going to protect it forever and ever. That's what belief is based on. And guess what happens? Everything in physics, okay, goes from high concentration to low concentration. If I dump iodine in water, the whole thing of water turns a different color. If I believe more than you in myself, all of you will start believing by law of attraction. So, now, it's hard to believe if you don't love yourself, and it's hard to believe if you don't feel good. But you got to believe that peace is possible. You have to believe that you can be at peace. You have to believe that it's possible, and the world may say it's impossible, and things out in the world may say that the odds are against you, but you have to decide, you know what? I'm right, you're all wrong. I believe. I'm going to stick and believe. And anyone who's done something amazing in life stuck to their beliefs. And when I see amazing people and read their charts, oh, they are way evolved in this state of awareness. Their belief consciousness is like gigantic, right? And we actually insult people for believing, right? Like, I went to high school in Arkansas. There was like Christian prayer in front of the school before we started in high school. And I was just like, and I was very intuitive. And I was like, wow, these people really believe. And they did. And they created miracles because they believed. It was amazing. But I could tell that their hearts really believed. It was a true, honest belief. And it came from here. Not from what happened in the world or what happened to them. It came from the heart. Their heart believed. That's what they're going to stick with. Alone or not. This next step is a weird one. It's one that most people are unaware of. Step 4, I belong. This is the age of Aquarius, step 4, which we are not in. We're in the age of Pisces, which is step 7, which we won't get to today. But step 4 is I belong. In consciousness, everything has a place, right? So women are really good with I belong. They'll be like, the couch doesn't belong there. And you're like, hi, how do you know, honey? It just doesn't, right? It belongs over there. There's a place for everything. This is the law of attraction. I belong. Law of attraction is actually based on step 1, your heart. It's based on all of these. What you love, what you feel, and what you believe tells you where you belong. Most people don't pay attention to belong, except, in extreme cases, when it's like, you walk down a dark alley at night full of a whole bunch of weird people with guns, you're like, I don't belong here, right? So we used to only, because we're asleep as humans, pretty much, me included, we don't think about, do I belong here? Remember those tests in elementary school where it's like a picture of a dog and a picture of a cat and a picture of a nun? And it's like, which one doesn't belong, right? And so we think about it, but this is a part of our consciousness that makes up our reality. So, do you belong being peaceful inside? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about the fact that you do belong being peaceful? You don't belong being unhappy. A lot of people, one of my clients, I'm unhappy, I can't make life happen. Well, where do you belong? Do you belong being unhappy? Well, I always have been. That's not what I asked you. I asked, do you belong being happy? Is this what you belong? Because if you feel you belong, you will be unhappy. If you don't feel you belong, you won't. It's like, is it that simple? Yeah, that is part of the consciousness. That is part of how I think it works. By being conscious of where we belong. In the age of Aquarius, the reason why it's going to bring 3,000 years of peace, allegedly, is that everyone will operate by where they belong instead of what their mind or ego wants. That's what's going to make the change. That we go ahead and say, you know what, this one isn't for me. Which takes some spiritual courage because you have to believe that you will find one that is for you. That's another thing. People stay with where they don't belong because they're afraid the universe won't bring another option. And that's not true. In fact, if you quit hanging out with where you don't belong, we can get on to where you do. People get held up, afraid. And a lot of that fear of not finding out where you belong, not finding your tribe, I believe you all belong here. Do you believe that? Do you feel it? Does it make you feel good in your heart? Does it feel safe? Then you do belong here. Then you do. And from this, magic will happen. From this, miracles will happen. Miracles that only you can notice yourself. I'm not a miracle maker, but I do teach people how to make them. You will make your own miracles. And a miracle is, holy shit, I cannot believe that happened. I just cannot believe it. Believe it. So ask yourself, when you're unhappy or something's not peaceful, one of the key questions is, I love, I feel, I believe, but something's not right. Do you belong in this space and time? In my opinion, this is how God, universe, gives everybody free will. Anyone can do anything they want at all. You can even be a cannibal if you want. But there's a place and a time for it. There's a place where that belongs. If you want to be a cannibal, you belong in the Amazon wearing threads. Okay, that's where you belong. You're welcome to do it, obviously. There's tribes that do. I'm not suggesting it. She's like giving me a grimace. Like, no, honey, I'm just giving you an extreme example. Yeah, right. I know you're hungry, but no, we don't have to go there. Okay, I belong. We're almost there. This. Step 5. I think. This is the troublemaker. That damn smartass. Always smarting off, always thinking that it knows better. Always disagreeing with me. Your mind, right? This is where most people live today, thanks to science and reason and brainwashing and fast-paced commercials. Most of us, ADD, PTSD, most of it is all happening in the I think state of awareness. I think, therefore I am. Bullshit, Descartes, you're wrong. That's not the truth, okay? You are because you love, if you want to know the truth. Your mind just happened to notice it. And that's what the mind is here to do. The mind is an organ. It's an organ that's here to take notes. It's an organ that doesn't come until 5th in the order of states of awareness. And that's why I said when you raise your hand, your mind might have been like, this is stupid, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, your mind probably jumped in front of the line here and took credit for all this. And it's not supposed to take credit. It's not supposed to run all this. It's supposed to represent this in the physical world. It's meant to communicate these steps, but not override these steps. So, mental discipline is something that took me a long time. I was a crazy worrier. I still am. I still have to tell my mind, shut up. You are not in charge here, buddy. Yes, I am. No, you're not. That's it. I told you I'm crazy. But my mind goes there. But what I learned is the mind needs boundaries. The mind must be disciplined to follow these 4 steps. So, if you don't belong thinking it, don't. If you don't believe what you're thinking, stop. If what you're thinking makes you feel bad, why are you beating yourself up with thoughts that make you feel bad? Oh, I'm afraid I might be wrong. No, this is what's right in you. This only thinks you're wrong. In 20 minutes when the love connection comes on, you won't remember anyways. And that's how I control my mind. I say to my mind, do I belong thinking this? Do I believe this? Does this feel right what I'm thinking? Does it feel right? Because a lot of people will go, I feel weird, but I think this. Well, which one is right? Your feelings or your thoughts? Which one? Well, according to the architecture of incarnation, feelings are right. Always. Thoughts maybe. They come later. They're actually a reflection of your feelings. They're a reflection of your heart. But the mind has the ability to contrast. That's what it's here to do. Here's an orange and here's an apple. That's what the Gemini mind is. The mind is the ability to look at 2 things at once. And that's so we have depth of perception and comparison and analysis and figuring things out and identifying things. But if you go, I'm a good boy, your mind doesn't have to go, or am I a bad boy? And that's why I teach my clients to brainwash with the idea of good or gooder. And I know gooder's not a word, but I just want to screw with that brain. It's like, it is in my world, buddy. Good or gooder. So if you have to compare, always compare between what is good and use that comparison, your compulsion to compare, to find something better than the first thing you found, versus trying to find an opposite or trying to find a match. And that's what the brain is like obsessed about. Oh, look, 2. Wow, they match, right? That's the brain. So, in simple terms, to be in peace, your mind must be aligned to these states of awareness and obey these states. If the mind goes off track, it's just mental creativity. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, no thought means anything if it's not backed by the first 4 steps before it. It means nothing. You're just exploring a thought. And the problem with thoughts is it's a unifying field. So if you have a bad attitude, everything starts to fall under that attitude. It actually sits on top of these, so it can corrupt these or it can honor these, one of the 2. And it's up to you to choose which way you want to go. The final step. Step 6, I receive. Did you know you had a state of awareness that does nothing but either accept packages in the mail or does not accept packages in the mail? If you ever fed a baby, you probably saw this. You're like, ooh, applesauce. Baby's like, right? Turns away. Play this game. The baby's not thinking, I don't like applesauce. Okay? The baby's like, I don't believe in applesauce. It was raised with all sorts of pesticides. Right? The baby's not like, ooh, the applesauce feels bad. Maybe the baby says that. But mostly the baby's saying, no, I'm not opening up to receive. Okay? So this is a state of awareness that is also very invisible to the human condition. Humans don't realize that there is an entire state that decides whether they're going to be open to it or not open to it. Right? So I can't tell you how many viewers I go to hug, no offense, and they're like, they can't accept the hug. It's like, what? You've been watching me for 10 years? You think I'm dangerous? It would have been nuts by now. I would have done something. Well, they're shut down because they've been shut down their whole life because their parents said they weren't worthy. All sorts of different things that made them go to default do not receive. So you can do all this building, like you can say, I'm loving myself, see? But if you're not feeling it, you're not receiving the love. You're putting it out there, but you're not eating it. It's like cooking a meal and not eating it when you don't open up to accept and receive. And this is also part of our problem with each other. We're not willing to accept and receive that this person is black and this person is gay. Like, I can take that. We're resisting. No. I can't be open to that idea. Why not? It's not going to hurt you. Let's try it, right? So a lot of my clients are master manifestors, okay? They can make so many opportunities happen in their life, and then at the last minute, they sabotage it. They screw something, they say something, they do something, and then I look at their chart, and it's like, oh, they're shut down on receiving. They can manifest it, but they can't take the gift once it arrives, and so they destroy it. They push it away. The 6 steps to inner peace. When you create the peace, accept and receive it. Don't let your mind come up with some idea to be upset. Don't let your feelings sabotage it. Pick up the baby and nurture them. And accept and receive. I'm in peace right now. How about that? All right, folks. Well, I think I've come to my time, so I just want to thank everyone for coming. I want to invite everyone who's watching. I want to say thank you for watching. We've been streaming. Also, we're going to have another segment here in a second. And for those who are streaming, we are looking to expand these festivals across the country. We are looking for donations, and if you'd like to donate to our program, come to lovefest.me, and you'll be taken to our GoFundMe page. Thank you so much, everyone.